Hello and welcome to the back nine of round one of the 2024 Dynamic Discs Open, presented by Dynamic Discs. We are at Champions Landing, formerly Emporia Country Club. I'm Erika Stinchcomb.
I'm Madison Walker. We're your two hot geese.
Honk. Stop number 7 already on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. It's just recently May. I could use a nap.
Yeah, it's been a long season already. We're 2 majors in somehow and a mini elite series. We're about to have a big drive across the country, but now we are in Kansas where it is wet and wild.
Yeah, okay.
But today, just sunny. We're getting lucky with a nice Friday of this tournament, but the front nine playing still a little tough in the wind. 3 down, it's enough to get it right now. Even par is enough to be in the top 10. A little bit higher scores than we were expecting.
Yeah, a little soft on the field, and the back nine is anything but soft. Hole 10 is a par 4, 585 feet. Was it like this last year, this combined hole?
Yes.
I didn't play here last year, so there's OB on the right you're not really going to find. You can find the left side if you throw a hyzer that kind of flare skips out of bounds. This last little bubble of OB that we just passed is surprisingly in play as well on the second shot if you're a bit out of position off the tee, and you can see the cart path kind of wraps to the left and around the back, and there's an OB golf green on the right. As long as you get out of this tunnel, even just a little bit, it's an easy par. Worst mistake is early left followed by early right?
Yep, definitely. In order to birdie this one, you have to get big distance off the tee. Hailey pushes a little straight, but she might have something to work with over there. But you have to be more aggressive off this tee than you want if you're trying to get that 3. Missy pushing nice and straight. That's what you have to do. You don't want to finish too far left. There's a big wall of trees. Missy checking up just before that, perfectly in the gap.
Yeah, all the way down there in that ditch. Missy, Owen, and Hailey all tied at 1 under. In a tie for 4th right now. Raven out of the gap nicely. Raven struggling on the front 9, but keeping a strong mental attitude, getting some looks for birdie out there as well. We'll see if she can pull it together, get some more green on the scorecard. Some pretty good drives overall off this tee. Hailey definitely pinched.
Yeah, doesn't have much to work with. She's just going to have to chip something out.
Nice aggressive looking chip.
Owen squared up to the gap. She's flirting with that OB on the right side, but has enough distance to... She's deep at the pin in circle 2.
Yeah, in high-ish. Raven lined up pretty well with this left side gap here.
Working the hyzer up the hill, and she's going to find herself behind that one big tree.
Huge tree. Missy with one of the better drives I have seen.
Yep.
I like that little gentle flip up, straight pushing shot. And a nice approach as well. Sit. Ooh.
Ooh, that green is faster than it looks.
How close is that cart path, too?
Ooh, 22 feet.
Yeah, sounds right. Probable statistic for sure.
Hailey just chipping up to the bullseye for par. This hole averaged pretty difficult today. There were only 2 birdies.
Nice.
No spoilers here. But 35% of the field taking a bogey or worse. It's one that strokes can quickly stack up if you find yourself early. Fortunately, Raven coming up just a little short for her birdie.
Missy low on hers, too. Feature card not quite getting the putts to drop generally we've seen in the front 9.
Emma Arp and Jennifer Allen were the only 2 birdies on the day today. 6 people got to circle 1 in regulation, 12 to circle 2.
I think it just doesn't quite feel worth it to get super aggressive off the tee.
Yeah, I would say a lot of people are probably just playing for par here or not trying to get too aggressive on that second shot if they're out of position.
Mm-hmm. Lucky still leading the way at 3 down through 10. Rebecca Cox and Hannah Wynn still 2 down.
Hole 11 is an uphill 316-foot par 3 that plays more like 380. Maybe I'm being dramatic, but it does play very far. We also had a left to right / headwind today, mostly more headwind, I would say. And it was very consistent. There wasn't ever a break. You just had to send it. There's out of bounds on the right-hand side that can come into play if you flip your disc, but that tall grass on the left is not out of bounds. So if you accidentally make a mistake and go early, you're fine. This is another one that's just really tough to get to circle one. Hailey gets all the way up there, though, no problem.
Something about the slight uphill, the trees on the right, having to push really straight, it definitely plays farther than it looks.
Yeah, you want to try to get a skip here like we see Missy setting up for nicely, but it can be tough after traveling uphill into a headwind to have enough spin on your disc to get that ground play.
Hailey and Missy both going to have birdie looks. And this is a typical mistake, trying to get a little bit of extra power and pushing those right side trees. This one is, kind of in a bonus birdie class, at least for me. I don't know why.
No, I agree.
I think it's just the wind.
Ever since they integrated this hole into the layout, I just haven't quite been able to figure it out. You can see Own, she's someone that doesn't have as much distance, and she's just going to be outside of circle 2 even. A lot of players going to attack this as a 2-shot hole, not on purpose, but there are minimal bogeys here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe
no
some
out of bounds? Is there?
There is out of bounds.
On the right.
Yeah, if you flip something over pretty aggressively. But there were no out of bounds strokes taken on this hole.
See if Missy can correct that last putt. She does, in for birdie.
Only 7 people got to circle 1 in regulation, so it feels a little bit like a feat.
Hailey misses that putt on the right side. Boo.
Yeah, strange. Seriously. Strange to see Hailey with some putting errors. She's very strong on the green typically.
Missy, the only one able to convert, and going to take the lead on our feature card. Rebecca Cox now 3 down, tied with Lucky. Hole 12, par 3, 353. 353 feet. This one has OB that's tighter on the right to start, but then as you play down the hole, comes up close on the left-hand side. This was more like a tail right to left wind, so not a bad wind to attack. It is kind of a low tunnel shot. Let's see chase card Holland Hanley attack here. You want to keep this low and try to get a nice skip at the end here.
Holland with some really great forward power, low and linear with the ground play to boot at the end. This is not an easy one to get inside of the circle.
For some reason, though, I think this one's easier than the last one.
I agree.
Yeah, even though it's 353 feet.
It looks like a more challenging and technical line off the tee because of all the trees and how close the OB is, but it's definitely a more gettable distance, I think, by the FPO field.
It just tends to have the favorable wind on this one versus the last one. True. Missy overturns that and is going to be out of bounds.
Thankfully, she goes out of bounds pretty far down the fairway, but not quite close enough to be able to putt to save par.
Wow, Hailey with a sidearm. I have not seen this at all, have you?
No, it's a big distance shot, but I
think so cool.
If you got it, that is the way. It's so much of a safer shot.
Wow, that was sweet. Can't wait to watch her miss that putt.
Wow, this plate is the 5th most difficult hole of the day.
Really?
Yeah.
Gosh, all right, let me just eat my words.
No, I think it's just it's an instant bogey if you go out of bounds anywhere. There's not really a bogey save unless you're left of the basket, but it's so difficult to get your disc that far.
I'm also going to work the left side with the sidearm. She catches a tree, going to drop short. Raven similarly leaves hers short and low, but safe. I suppose everyone is probably getting aggressive on this one, and the mistake is going to be out of bounds more than anything else.
Definitely. There was 10 out of bounds strokes in the field today. And only 3 birdies.
The card discussing where Missy's last was inbounds. Missy gonna lay it up nicely, looking at a bogey.
6 people got to circle 1 in regulation today, 14 to circle 2.
On displaying her balance there.
And look how close Hailey is.
So cool to get there with the sidearm too.
Yep, not going to lay this one up. She's one of 3 birdies on the day. We saw Holland Hanley get it. Holly Finley is the only other birdie. She made a circle 2 putt on this elevated basket to get it.
Missy gonna cart the bogey, move back to 1 down. Her and Own now tied. Hailey moving to 2 down with that one.
God, that forehand is so impressive.
Lethal.
Can you imagine having that?
No.
Ricky. What? What just happened? Wysocki blows up the basket on the 16th. I don't know what that is, but it definitely bombs.
Hole 13, it's 456 feet. You're not going to see many people taking the route the drone is flying. This usually is all out of bounds. This year they have dictated it as hazard. So if you want to play for a par 4 and throw it into the hazard, short pitch up, take your par, you can. But you're going to see a lot of players going around to the left-hand side trying to get that birdie. There's the one bush to the left of the out of bounds that can come into play. You want to avoid that. You can see that big bush just to the left of Hailey King. Your second shot. Whoa.
That is a crazy looking shot.
She's going to be in that out of bounds hazard area. Your second shot, there's some trees you have to contend with, and they pulled the OB back a lot. So it's easy to get to be able to get more aggressive on your second shot. I love the change on this hole.
Yeah, I think it's definitely better to have that right side as hazard and entice more people to go for it. Raven with a really nice flex shot. She's lined up really well to the gap.
I like a forehand off the tee here. A backhand works as well, just as long as you avoid landing directly under this bush or skipping too far right into the hazard.
I live under that bush. I don't know who I am outside of it.
We've all been under there. Missy with the...
Oh, huge.
That is an amazing shot. Avoiding the bush, hyzering out around it. She's going to have a nice, clear shot to the green for birdie.
She disked up to a Zeus again.
Own going out and around the trees I was talking about having to go underneath. She's going to set herself up with a circle 2 putt past the basket.
It's a cool play. This was a largely left to right-ish wind.
So the hazard, that tree that Missy just buzzed, that the hazard or the out of bounds last year went all the way up almost to that tree. So cutting the corner was not really an option. It was a little bit too risky. This year, though, you can take a hyzer through there if you want. You can do this little turnover shot that we see Raven doing really well to the bullseye.
Yeah, great approach there. Raven playing this hole really nicely. So Hailey...
Oh, she goes over the hazard.
Yeah.
And into the out of bounds.
I was wondering.
So that out of bounds line doesn't come into play very often for FPO.
She's so far up there. That's wild.
That is wild.
It's interesting to see her go for it, but not the route the drone flew.
Yeah.
Over the hazard. Huh.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they found it, to be honest. Own for a birdie. Catches some metal. Gonna be a par, though. Missy about 25 for her birdie. Another low miss. And a mean little roll.
So mean, all the way almost to the edge of circle 1.
Makes good on the comebacker, though.
There were 11 birdies today, about a quarter of the field getting this one.
Nice birdie from Raven there.
Hailey with the most unique par in the FPO field
Yeah.
by far.
Print her off a little ribbon.
I want to watch her throw this hole every day now because I feel like she's potentially going to be going for it.
Yeah.
And I think
in
she
a way
could
that
get
no
there.
one else is.
Yeah. If that disc had hyzer just a little bit, I think she could have been on the green.
Hailey still leading our feature card here in a tie for second with Hannah Wynn at 2 down through 13. Lucky Lorenzen still leading the field at 3 down. Hole 14 is another par 5. It's 893 feet. Various gaps you can take off the tee. You see backhands, you see forehands, you see it all. There is OB left and right the entire way. It was a right to left-ish wind, making it kind of difficult if you were on the left side, if you didn't have the sidearm. You can see there's an OB golf green as you get up close. The OB kind of narrows too into a little bit of a pinch point that can make your final approach shot a bit daunting. What do you think the most common gap is?
I think today with the left to right wind,
Oh, it was left right.
it's really difficult to say because I think a lot of players do like that right side. It feels like a bigger gap. But with the wind today, I love Holland's forehand play. I actually chose this play as well. And normally I throw backhand off the tee. So it's difficult to say. I think it changes with the wind.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It was left
As
to right.
we all do.
As we must. Holland looking at a birdie coming back towards it. Wow. Good one.
I feel like every time I play this hole, I'm like, this hole is probably just so easy for Holland because she can throw so far. It's just...
That's what you think when you're playing the hole?
Yeah.
You're not thinking about your shots?
No, I thought that today. I was like, man, I wish I had Holland's backhand here.
What are you doing?
I could really make this hole a lot easier.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's what they say to improve. Just envy others.
Yeah. No, emulate your heroes.
Oh.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Okay.
Holland, you're not my hero.
Sending a lot of mixed messages here. Hailey with a huge sidearm there. Raven is going to be pretty short and behind that one little bush thing. Owen with a nice looking sidearm here.
This fairway, even though it's very, very wide and should be extremely easy to get down and navigate and even put yourself in position for birdie, these trees are placed so perfectly off the tee and on your second shot somehow that it's just set up perfectly to make you have to think and really push out of bounds to play aggressively on the hole.
Yeah, on either side.
Yeah, you can see Raven. She's right in the middle underneath this tree.
The middle's like the worst spot to land.
It sure is.
It's wild. Like she's going to land in the middle here again.
And it's going to be tough.
Yeah, look at it. Sucks. You got to be nearly in these people's yards. Someone was grilling today.
They were. I've met the people that own that White House multiple times while in their yard. Get to know the neighbors here.
Yeah, they're friendly.
At Champions Landing.
Missy with a nice shot. She'll be kind of in the middle, but...
Uh-oh.
Own working the flex.
Yeah.
Does not come back.
A little too much flex. That was forced over. The wind says no.
That's the third time we've seen one a little bit too forced, not able to come back. Hailey set up well for another sidearm. That looks great.
So much power.
Yeah.
That's her second shot.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I was thinking on the whole how nice it would be to be Hailey King. She's got like a sweet house and a nice cat, and I was just thinking about that instead of the hole. That's a weird little OB area, that wall. It's like the OB goes along the edge of the wall to the point, and then it cuts back to the left towards that golf green. It's pretty rude.
Yeah, Raven finding the little pizza slice.
Thank you. I was looking for something.
Own throwing over the the pizza slice, and she'll be safe at the top of the hill, I believe Erika said, in the flyover. It's around circle 2 edge.
Yeah.
Ish.
I didn't say that, but we'll pretend I did. Give them that helpful information. Missy riding the right-hand side, gonna check up just inside the circle on her third. That was a great shot.
This hole played as the 6th most difficult hole of the day. There were only 5 birdies and only 8 people getting to circle 1.
Hailey gonna be one of them, as is Missy. Hailey, once again, kind of leaving herself a little bit more of a putt than you would like after some really phenomenal shots. Raven with the classic over the pizza.
On the green. Oh, I'm giving it a soft run at this sloped green. It checks up nicely right behind the basket.
Hailey for birdie. Leaves it low right.
If Hailey can get her putts to drop, whew.
To me, it's more like if she can just get her approaches closer and doesn't leave herself the stressful putts.
Very true. Raven with a little bit of a tester putt to save bogey.
Missy for a birdie. She struggled on the green today a little bit more than we're used to, but hey, she can still make some good ones.
Yeah, she can. Center cut for the only birdie on our feature card and one of only 5 today.
I'm going to card the bogey with that out of bounds stroke. Going to move to even par. Missy going to tie it up with Hailey with that really sweet birdie.
Missy really cleaning it up the last few holes after some numbers. Now in contention for the lead. Hole 15. At 355 feet, you're thinking birdie, but this out of bounds line on the right-hand side and combined with the wind being very strong right to left today makes it difficult to stick this green. The ground play can be high. You can get big skips if you don't come in on a more spiky angle. And with the wind gust, it can sometimes do some crazy lifts and drops to your disc. If you do not land on this island, there is a drop zone right where the cart path splits into a Y.
Oh, yeah, Missy. That was her ESP Zeus again, leaning on that one out here in Kansas.
Look how calm the wind is right now.
I know.
The heck? Hailey coming in so high and tree love.
Yeah, that was a good break.
Yeah, that was screaming towards out of bounds.
Careening, if you will.
Raven taking a more low and linear route with an overstable disc.
Looks good. Spikes right behind that tree. Own with her flippier destroyer, that yellow one, usually gets some turn. This was another hole where, that's definitely too much turn. It felt like a right to left, but then you got out there and sometimes it felt more like a headwind, and that one really didn't have a chance. Own's going to have to go to the drop zone.
This drop zone's about 100 feet.
A little farther, I think.
Owen's going to be in the bullseye for a tap-in bogey.
Maybe like 150 even.
18 people landed in circle 1, 34 landed in circle 2 out of 43. Everyone's in circle 2.
Yep, classic. Hailey in for a nice putt. Moves to 3 down. I was just checking last year's scores. The course was about the same, arguably slightly easier, just with one major change on hole 18. I'm going to pause while we watch this birdie putt. Raven going to miss that one. And like 7 or 8 over was the hot round of the day every day. There was
under.
Usually, under. There's usually a couple people in that like 5 to 8 range. Oh, Raven. So it's interesting to see like 3 down kind of leading the way with a few of the hardest holes left on the course.
Yeah, everyone kind of struggling on the same day. We did have a bit of a rocky practice week. We had a rain delay, an official rain delay where we weren't allowed on the. Oh yeah, two. Yeah. One on Tuesday and one on Wednesday
for several hours.
It was tough to get your practice out here. Also, I'm sure everyone's a little bit hibernating after playing 4 rounds during the major at Northwoods last week. Going right back out to the Open. I feel like we're going to see some hot scores coming up tomorrow and the next day after dialing through the narrow hallways of Northwood, and now we have these big wide open fairways.
The Kansas prairies. Hailey in a tie for first with Missy, Gannon, and Stacy Ronsley. Nice to see Missy go back-to-back birdies there. Super strong in the final stretch here. Hole 16, the island hole. Absolutely infamous. Look at this thing. 320 feet. Feels farther. It's a par 3. There is a right side inbound safe landing area if you want to lay up. They did move the drop zone from that right corner. That was, like 80 feet away. You know what? I'm going to shut up. Let's watch this.
Oh, a check-in.
Oh.
Who is she?
Oh. A goose?
Goose on the cage.
Mad hitting the basket with that one and checking up pretty close.
Oh, go. We've got some honks in the back.
So great. There was a pretty fun little crowd all dressed in pink on this one.
Yeah, the flamingo.
And that was sweet to hit basket and get the birdie. Not bad, dude.
Yay. Let's see if Missy can get to this island. Erika's not lying when she said it feels longer than 320. I feel like I have to throw it as hard as I can.
Yeah. And usually the flip-up play, Matt and I were talking about this earlier, is just not going to get there. You need to throw more of a flexing shot and work that right-hand side.
Yeah, we had a left to right / kind of taily wind, and just the wind is just actively pushing your disc down if you try to hyzer flip something.
That has the right power, it looks like, but just is not fading hard enough. The drop zone is like 40-ish, 45, but straight at the water. And I think I'm one of the most aggressive Circle 2 putters out there, and I won't even run it.
Raven also riding that right side, finding some branches right as she's starting to fade back towards the island.
Looking like she's lining up the safe play here. So if you do this, and then if she lands safe here, on the next shot, it's not a drop zone. You just play from normal OB from that right side.
Yep, drop zone's only 4 tee shots.
So it makes it somewhat enticing to do this. Except that she didn't cross, and will now be going essentially from where the old drop zone was.
Right short of where our lovely volunteer disc diver is. Thank you to that guy swimming.
Oh, and giving it a run from here.
Ooh.
I like it. I actually think I like that as a drop zone better.
I do
it was
too.
Really scary, but you could run it. This is like, I wonder if anyone ran it today.
We're just going to see.
The water's 5 feet to the left.
Yeah, I know in FPO we're going to see all layups.
Yeah.
I wonder if in MPO maybe people are running it, but it just, today with the wind coming generally as a headwind from this drop zone, it just wasn't worth it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As the flag is still.
Yeah. It's just weird.
Yeah.
When Erika and I came through, it was wild.
You saw that almost ace. Wind pushed it right out of the basket.
I know. It was definitely the wind.
Yeah.
I threw it perfect.
Uh-huh.
Missy casually gonna take a bogey here. Owen having to settle for a double, unfortunately. Raven with a picture-perfect sponsor shot here.
That's a pretty cool floating sign. And unfortunately, that is classic island hole.
Yes. Everyone kneeling down to grab their disc.
Yep.
From 1 foot off the island.
Hailey and Missy leading the way. Owen gonna drop pretty far back with that bogey, double bogey stretch. Raven was gaining some ground, but 3 bogeys in a row is pretty rough.
Moving on to the final par 4 of the round, hole 17. This was a tough tee shot today with a right to left crosswind and that out of bounds line all the way down the left side. Erika was talking about just throwing it into the trees and letting it land closer to that out of bounds line on the right side so that you can just chip your second shot across. By chip, I mean throw a distance driver.
As hard as you can.
As hard as you can. The OB line is pinched pretty tight on the short side of the green as well. You really have to aggressively pursue it because you can't just lay up in circle 2 or you will be out of bounds and have to take it from the short side. The low-hanging tree branches that Missy is high of are really in play this year more than ever.
As is that left side OB. Mm-hmm. It was right to left here, and then second shot was straight headwind, which was pretty challenging. Looks like the wind is blowing this time for them.
It sure is. I like
Love the sidearm.
Me too, but if it didn't hit that branch, it could have found OB right. The area under the trees is a little bit more hard pan. You can get some big skips.
Raven in danger here. Doesn't get the turn on this one.
Hole 17 played as the third most difficult hole today with 13 OB strokes. This is one of the most OB-laden fairways of the day.
Yeah. Oh, and also not getting enough turn on her forehand. That was probably a good tree hit and a weird tombstone.
One we can read from here.
Yeah. This is one that I do generally like the hole, but I liked it better as a par 5 to the MPO pin.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It still is a good FPO hole. Just I think the wind today made it especially challenging. I think with other winds we'll see better scoring spread. Missy just going to play onto the short side, setting herself up for a pretty simple up and down.
Yeah, I don't think you usually see people attempt to go across. It's just too low of a ceiling to try to save your par.
Yeah, there was only 3 people that landed in circle 1, only 5 in circle 2. So most people doing this more safe route that we see here.
Hailey going to go across into a headwind here. Ooh, catches some leaves. Still has a lot of power on it. And that's going to come up well short.
Wow, not quite enough.
Now going sidearm. It's an interesting play. Cool.
Yep, that'll work great onto the green.
Oh, I'm going to throw standstill on her third. Ooh. Nice shot.
Both Raven and Missy with about 200 feet to the basket.
Raven going to check up nicely on that tree. Can be a little awkward from there. The branches are a little bit low, but it is close.
Only 1 birdie on the day today. Give it up, honk, Erika Stinchcomb.
Honk.
I got to watch it. It was sweet.
Yeah, I was pretty thrilled. Hailey for a bogey. Rough. 17 played tough today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 13 OB strokes across the field. Raven.
Kind of a grip lock there.
Yeah, some putting woes. Being on the feature card when you're not playing well is one of the worst feelings in the world.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely mental rowdiness. Like there's no taming what's happening.
Just full chaos.
Yeah, and you're trying to be like, yeah, I'm good, I'm fine.
Smile.
It's great.
I mean, she looks composed.
Yeah.
Which is hard to do.
Yeah, which is why it's easy to start taking bogeys because it's got to come out somewhere.
Oh, no.
This is a lived experience. Owen, very happy with the par here. That is taking strokes on the field. Like I said, only 1 birdie today, 40% taking pars and 58% taking bogeys or worse. Oof.
Ouch.
Yeah, 17. Rough today. Weird wind.
And a bit of a shuffle after that one. Missy in a tie for first at 1 down, which is, again, pretty surprising. Emily Weatherman, Hannah Wynn, Stacey Ronsley also 1 down. Hailey King now tied for big tie for 5th at even par. Hole 18, the tee shot is the same as last year. There's OB on the left side, water on the right. Really narrow fairway here. Sidearm sets up well, or turnover or slightly flexing backhand. If you can get about to right here, it's probably only about 250 feet across. You do have to land on this island green safely to proceed. Otherwise, you have to go from the short side of the green. So you could potentially see some big numbers here. Very risk reward. I believe we saw Holland Hanley eagle this in the old position, so we know she can get huge distance off this tee shot.
And that makes the second shot so much more no nonsense. Still, you don't want to accidentally go deep. That's what I worry about with Holland, but no worries today. She is in the bullseye, leaning up against the lighthouse.
And gonna finish with a birdie, move to 1 under on the round, which shot well today. Again, we're used to like a 5 or a 7 or an 8 being the hot score, so a little strange. Everyone just having some trouble today.
Having a bad day on the same day.
Yeah, it's weird to see.
Mm-hmm. So
it
you
was
don't
a straight tailwind here. Sorry, you go ahead.
Yeah, and maybe a little bit left to right.
Yeah.
You don't really have to get a lot of distance off in order to approach the green. If you land by that first corner tree, it's about 340 feet. So if you want to take some off here off the tee, you can avoid going out of bounds on the left. But I think we're going to see everyone going super aggressive here and trying to make that second shot to the green as short as possible.
Yeah, it feels worth it to go a little bit aggressive.
They really pulled the OB line in this year. It used to be all the way back by that spectator rope with the flags. Now it's very pinched on the left side.
Yeah, it comes into play quickly, especially in a tailwind on a backhand shot. Hailey going to find that tree and drop short. She could still potentially go across from there, as Mad said, about 340 from that tree. Raven too low. Probably looking at a layup from there. We'll see.
Yeah, she's every bit of 360, 370 from there.
And it is nice because it's slightly downhill, but with the rethrow, well, not a rethrow, but not able to advance to the far side, it's pretty punishing.
Yeah, there's some low-hanging branches as well, but Hailey is going to go for it.
Oh, yeah. Calling for it to lift. Wow. That was awesome. Drops to her knees, says thank you. What a shot. Owen and Missy, both with really great tee shots and less work than Hailey. Owen gets nearly to the bullseye. That was great.
33% of the field birdieing this one.
Oh, nice.
Yep. It's the middle of the pack on difficulty with 21 competitors getting to circle one. A fun finishing hole.
Yeah, it's a cool change. Ooh. Missy leaving it a little bit short there. She's fine.
Yeah, I do kind of miss the eagle ability, but if you're nervous, this hole could very quickly turn into a bogey. So nice finishing hole, nice changes. Raven's third. She's going to have some work left to do on the green on this elevated basket. It is pulled pretty far off the water. You can run this putt if you're feeling saucy.
She's feeling saucy. You can see in her body language. There's some sauce. Not enough, though.
Missy with a birdie putt way uphill.
This is to take the solo lead, I believe. Sit down. Missy with some troubles on the putting green, not what we're used to seeing.
Hailey bouncing back from bogey, double bogey to finish with a birdie.
And to move into that tie for first.
Some big changes out here at Champions Landing, some new ownership, and a new fountain.
Beautiful fountain.
It's a beautiful fountain.
Gorgeous.
Really excited with the changes they're making out here. I think we're going to see some cool stuff from this property in the next couple of years.
Owen finishing it up with a birdie of her own. Raven with a rough day, but lives to fight another one.
And that's going to wrap up round one. A lot more colors on the scorecard than we're used to seeing on our feature card, but the back nine is brutal, especially with the wind we had today. looks like 1 down is good enough to be on the lead card. Everyone's doing it.
Yeah, you can too.
Hailey King, Missy Gannon, Emily Weatherman, and Hannah Wynn going to be our round 2 moving day lead card.
Holland Hanley also in that tie for first, gonna lead off the top of the chase. Madison and I got to play with Hannah Wynn. She played really solid. Should be a fun watch. I'm not really familiar with Emily Weatherman, so always fun to see some new faces.
This is her first year, I believe, on the tour. She had a great finish at Champions Cup, I believe. Solid golfer. Can't wait to watch her and get to know her this week. Tune in tomorrow for the moving day lead card performance we get to watch. It's going to be rainy.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Hopefully no weather delays, maybe just some light rain. Thanks to the Founders Club. You guys rule. And that's about it. I'm Madison Walker.
I'm Erika Stinchcomb. We're the two hotkeys.
Honk.